So my vlog on my bike seemed to be quite popular, although I did get told off a few times for not having a helmet on. And to be fair, I kind of know better. I don't like riding with the helmet on, but I did go up Helvellyn and I did come off my bike going full tilt and then had to ride down Helvellyn. Fortunately, I was going down with one leg and get a taxi at the bottom to get back to my car because I thought I'd broke my ankle. But anyway, so I've got a helmet on, so don't give me any grief. What's happened this week? The EV scene, it just looks like it's been carnage. Looks like the Chinese have started a massive price war, which is unfair really, especially with the carbon credits, although it looks like they may be coming to an end. The stupid targets, which only an idiot would have put into action, or the government. So but if they don't, then we'll play right into the hands, and the Chinese will muck all their EVs away, and then the legacy automakers will end up having to give them 15,000 euros or a compromise of 15,000 euros for every EV that they fall short of, thereby paying them back the subsidy because they've killed us, with the likes of Car Dealer and Auto Trader and all the other magazines blowing sunshine up their arse. It's just not fair. I have reported them all to the Advertising Standards Agency. I doubt whether they'll do very much. But it's not coincidence now, it can't be a coincidence that all our motor trade press are waxing lyrical about Chinese EVs, Chinese cars, China full stop. I mean, why on earth would you import vehicles from a country where 2 million people a year die of pollution so that we can have clean air vehicles? It just doesn't make sense to me. How can it make sense to anybody? So we had that. There's been fires. There's been fires at battery plants, recycling plants, from batteries, from electric vehicles. It looked to me like it was a G-Whiz. Well, it looked like they'd got two G-Whizzes, but all that was left outside of the house was just the framework of a vehicle that had been charging, and it had burnt all the front of the house too. You know, it does make you think, doesn't it? Or it should make you think. And even if the chances are slim, you know, do you remember when those phones, I can't remember which phone it was, but they were banned off aeroplanes. And I saw a video last week of a power bank setting fire on an aeroplane. And although they managed to put it out, it's not something you want at 30,000 feet, is it? It really isn't. All the headlines regarding electric vehicles, you can just see it getting worse and worse as time goes on. Yes, electric vehicle fires have gone up 77%, I suppose. No, we don't know the exact split in London because they don't want you to know. But when it takes 90,000 gallons of water to put out an EV fire, one EV, what's it going to take for a showroom full, a car park full, an underground tunnel full? And you can call me all you want. I like fresh air as much as the next person. I had chronic asthma when I was a child. There's nobody knows more what it's like to feel like you're drowning in fresh air than I do. It's awful. But on the flip side, I've worked in garages all my life, and I actually grew out of it when I was about 14, and I was working in a garage at weekend, and in those days there was no health and safety. You had asbestos brakes, and the mechanics just used to blow the dust off with an air gun. So all that, you know, you were swallowing it. Yeah, that's why I'm amazed that I'm still alive. But I actually grew out of mostly hay fever and asthma. If being in a fume-filled workshop or showroom every time you move the cars, you know, in those days, you'd be on choke. They'd be revving away there. I do find it hard to believe ICE vehicles are just getting the blame. The worst particulates, from what I can see, and probably EVs are more responsible for them than anything, and that's iron oxide. Now with EVs, they've always gone on about saving electricity, regenerative brakes. So as soon as you take your foot off the accelerator, the car starts slowing down. It puts the motors basically in reverse, creates drag, slows you down. That puts strain on all your suspension components and on your tyres straight away. You know, you basically, it's stop go. As soon as you take your foot off the accelerator, it slows down, it starts slowing down. Whereas if you've got any sense and you can judge the traffic, in a nice car, you just take your foot off the accelerator and coast. You know, the wind's slowing you down. The wind against the bodywork of your car is slowing you down. There's no strain. There's no wear on the tyres. You know, there's no kind of, they don't need traction. The car is being stopped from the top, not the bottom, on a little patch of rubber. Your brakes last longer. But the worst thing is that your brakes, if you don't use them and they get wet, the discs will start rusting within 20 minutes. If they're not used, they'll just get worse and worse. And then it'll turn into corrosion and pitting. So your discs will be pitted. If your discs are pitted, raised little dots or as the name suggests, little pits, then your brakes aren't as efficient. They're not working. They're not going to pull you up. And also, if they're just rusty, the first revolution at least So I'm just trying to think what pi r squared is of a disc. But anyway, it's going to be like 3 foot or something. Good afternoon. So, that 3 foot, as I say in the story I told you probably yesterday about a cyclist falling over in front of me. Just going past you on the right. No bell, sorry, I'm saving up. So, the story I told you about the cyclist getting his flares caught in the chain and just falling, dominoing sideways right in front of me with his head right in front of the wheel. It doesn't bear thinking about. Hi there. Because that extra 3 foot, his head would have been squashed. And yes, it's a worst case scenario, but some of these EV experts talk about tossers. Honestly, the battery doc, the EV mechanics, all the experts, yeah, they say they don't see brakes wearing out, they see them having to be changed because of the calipers being seized, corrosion, warping, all the stuff. Your brakes are the most important thing on your car. The most important thing. So, you know, if they're advocating that you shouldn't look after your brakes, they're not your friends. They're trying to sell you something, because it's just ridiculous. Forget about saving electricity with regen. Turn the regen off. Have it drive like a proper car. Use your brakes. Don't let the car do your thinking for you. Little bit more for electric, but I promise you, what extra or what you would save with regen, you will more than make up for it by not having to get 4 new discs. If you coast, your tyres will last longer, your suspension components will last longer, your passengers won't feel as sick with it constantly, on, off, on, off. An accelerator is not an on-off switch. You know, a good driver would feather the accelerator, anticipate the traffic, slow down, let the car slow down naturally, so you don't have to touch the brakes, and then accelerate away. But people just seem incapable of driving these days. It's stupid. So, the next thing, is collaborations. I've been sent a desk from FlexiSpot. They're fed up of watching me use my kitchen table, so they've sent me a desk, which I'm going to build and video, and it's a desk that you can stand up at. So you stand up and work, and also you can even put a treadmill underneath it. But it's controlled electrically, up and down electrically, which I have to say is brilliant, because I also use 2 different chairs to start off with, and then when I stand up, to demonstrate something else when I need to, I have to go and move the camera. So I think it will be a good thing, and I can't wait to build that. I've been offered another couple of things. One is actually, I think they must have seen me being a bit out of breath here while I'm doing these vlogs, and they wanted to send me an electric bike. And yes, I was 67 the other day, but my brain doesn't think I'm 67. My body does, my brain doesn't. So it was one of these sit up and beg bikes, probably like my granddad or grandma used to have. It looked like that. I mean, they're coming back in fashion now, I know they are. And again, bikes are a fashion item. But I don't want an old sit up and beg bike. So I'm hoping that they'll send me one of the others, which would be handy because it's a little folding bike, and I can put it outside on my patio and charge it with a battery outside, not inside, which is very, very important to me, and should be very, very important to my neighbours too. So here we are at Toyota. Lexus. That's one of the ones. Oh God, look at that ding there in that car right there at the end. Unbelievable. They must walk past that every day, and the first thing you notice is a ding. A fucking sales manager doing. Christ almighty. I've got a good mind to go in there and bollock him. So this is Motor Village anyway. Toyota, Lexus. Up here, Skoda. Nice range of cars now, Skoda. And when you remember, they did an advert once.
Excuse me, what's going on?
So sorry, it's your new car, sir.
Oh no.
I'm afraid some little vandal has stuck a Skoda badge on the front of it, sir.
The guy's out on a test drive and he said it's a Skoda. They pulled over and the guy gets out of the car and runs off. Look at these. Look at all these cars. It's scary. I mean, what is the need for all these cars when you think about it? What's the need for all these used cars? How many used cars are there and how many people are there for them? The more new ones that are registered for nothing and pre-registered, the more used ones there are that aren't wanted. What happens to them? You know, Seat's here. Again, Seat's great cars. Look at that one. We've got a Skoda here. Why would you have a Skoda? Why would you just not go next door to the sales manager next door? Who's going to come here for a Skoda? Yeah, good. Just turning round. Again, one charger that I can see here. One charger on the other one for all these cars. Arnold Clark's. Now, is that iWorkshop, like iRobot? Dacia, Peugeot. Can't see any electric points here. Bicycle's definitely the best way of looking at cars. All your new 25 regs today. You know, these nice looking cars. There's no Renault 5, is there, in the showroom? I don't think. Can we see one anywhere? Also, the good thing with being on a bike when you're looking at cars is that the salesman can't catch you. Is there a Renault 5 anywhere? Oh, there we go. Now, that is a good looking thing. Delivery mileage. Drive me away today. So, is that already a pre-reg? I wonder. Audio 25 plate today. Good looking car. Good looking car.
Resuming.
Look at these awful colours. I mean, that is horrible, and it seems to be all over the place. I have to say, there's not as many cars here as there normally is. So is that a good sign? I know I went to see John at the garage the other day, and we don't speak too often now, but he's been mad busy. Sorry, trying to get you. So hopefully, and to be fair, I was going to have a chat with him about getting the stock down, because the trouble is, when this war with the Chinese on pricing comes, it's going to affect everything. It's going to affect all the used cars. If you can get a new one with 30% off, then basically you've got to knock 20% off whatever used cars you've got, all the way down the line till it probably gets down to about 10%. But even so, every single car on your forecourt will take a hit. That's depreciation for you. Thank you. Yeah, that's depreciation, I'm afraid. Crikey, I had some happy times at Mercedes-Benz. We had a good team there. We had a great team. Really was, having the wheels refurbed there. We had some fun times. Every single member of staff, from my sales administrator to the valeters, all excellent. And that was something where the team was actually better than the sum of its parts. We all worked together really, really well. And when I think back, I mean, I'm semi-dyslexic, but we had a salesman who was fully dyslexic, but nice guy, great salesman. And it was a while before I found out that he was taking his order forms home for his wife to do them, you know. And to be fair, I realised then that I was letting them down. If I didn't know that, and they was hiding it from me, I would have done his order forms anyway. But that was my inspiration. Well, that was my inspiration, and the fact that he brought an order form to. Unfortunately, he owed £19,000 on his old car, so he couldn't have even bought his old car back for £19,000. Hence, I invented my deal pack. And in doing so, I took all the pressure off me and all my salesmen. We used to get marked down for mistakes in the deal pack, and the guy who did it took great delight in cocking you up. Anyway, we went from, you had to be above 80%, otherwise you wouldn't get any commission, which is fair enough, paperwork's important. But we went from just over 80% to 100% when I did my deal pack. And it calculated everything. It made the order form, made the workshop order, made the parts order, it made the order for the new car, so you couldn't make any mistakes, which we'd been having. My sales administrator was off, and we had a temporary sales administrator who was a lovely girl, but just not cut out for that particular job. So we ended up with a few cars that were ordered and they were the wrong specifications, caused a lot of hassle and a lot of money, because once somebody doesn't get what they want these days, it's, you know, financial. They want money for being put out, so it costs you money. We got round that. It worked the salesman commission out as well. We knew right from getting the order form what the salesman was going to make. And it also, when I was a salesman, we used to get 10% on parts, any parts we sold, mats, mud flaps and so on. Now, on a Mercedes-Benz, you could make a lot. On a Mercedes-Benz, you could make a lot of money. Everybody would want mats, mud flaps. There was no radios standard at the time. So it was worthwhile doing. And you had to fill in a commission claim form and put what you'd sold, what invoice it was, how much it was, how much the VAT was, what the registration, the customer's name. And it'd take ages to do, but was worth doing. And then they cut the commission down. So I just said, right, fair enough, but it's not worth my time filling the form in. But we need to know. So well, you fill it in then. I don't need to know. I don't need to know how much I'm not making when I'm filling that form in and not speaking to a customer. I don't want to take 2 or 3 hours going through all the invoices for like £4. I think I got 10 quid the first time. So I said I'm not doing it. But with the new system, you got a record. Just wrote it all out. And then you just put the chits in. Salesman never had to do it. We had more time to sell cars, which is why we smashed our target. Morale was good. I ended up going to New York and wherever else I went. Where else did I go? Well, I know I went to Thailand with me bonds. So, you know, people in garages, especially owners and general managers, they've lost sight of what salesmen are. They've lost sight of what salesmen should be doing. You know, I mean, I never actually noticed, but from the camera, did you see any customers? Can you see any customers milling about? I think we saw a couple, didn't we? But just imagine how many £1 million worth of cars are just here. And no customers. It's scary. Absolutely scary. Anyway, I don't think it'll be very long before my battery overheats and runs out. So I'll probably call it a day there. And just enjoy the rest of my ride and my rehabilitation on my knee, hoping to get back to being able to snowboard soon. And well, walking would be nice. Hi there, hi. Yeah, being able to walk would be nice. Just trying to think if there's anything else happening. No, I don't think so. Everything just going kind of according to plan. Again, I'm so glad I'm out of the motor trade from the sharp end. I'm fed up of the people like Dealer Auction saying you can make so much. It should be against the law. You should have to publish your... Christ, that frightened me to death. You should have to... Just up there, a Eurofighter. In order to make any claims like they make, an auto trader with the Chinese, the views on the Chinese vehicles, you should have to publish all the table that you got that information from, because otherwise it's wide open to abuse, and it's getting abuse at the moment. It's just, you can't claim that you can make £3,565 on a BYD or a Funky Cat, when there's somebody on the platform that has reduced his by £10,500. It's just, you know, it's just beyond belief. Anybody who believes that is a fool. And anybody who puts that out as a statement is a fool too. You can't make a headline out of 3,300 vehicles in 4 months, and there's still probably 1,500, so that means they've probably only sold 1,500, if that. When there's 453,000 on the platform at any one time, and you're making a headline out of 3,300 over 4 months, it's just wrong. It needs stopping. Proper stories, all these spelling mistakes, it just smacks to me of, I'm not sure whether I've told you this before, but I went for a very short time to work for an internet company, a website, did websites for cars, and so they did websites for cars, and they did, you know, help you get to the top of Google ranking. Nobody ever does that. All that's just a con. It's just a con. They get you to rank at #1 for words that they're neither here nor there to you. So yeah, it's just a waste of money. But they had somebody who'd got a business and he'd been a naughty boy in the past, and he hired the company to make a load of stories up about him that got ranked and pushed all the bad ones down Google, so that people had got fed up. You know, that's how Google works. And that's what all these stories are about. They're trying to push the negative stories away and just do a shotgun blast of positive made-up stories. And when you read the actual grammar and some of the spelling, it smacks that it's being done by AI. And if it is, then that's just disgraceful. It needs to stop. Absolutely needs to stop, and stop now. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.